I begin with a true story. First of all, throughout life, there are always circumstances that comes from time to time that is beyond our control. And that's where faith comes in, to trust God. We are not self-sufficient. There was this missionary in the Ecuador Mountains. He had an old American car, and the brakes had been worked on till they basically were wore out. And while coming down this mountain, the brakes finally gave completely out. He was somehow able to get it stopped in a very sharp curve. It was him, his son, and maybe his wife and a friend. They jacked it up and realized the brakes, there was absolutely no way they could do anything to fix them to get them down to the mountain. Here's the trouble. They were in Ecuador. They have an American-made car. They are miles from the nearest town. Even if they got to town to try to find brakes for an older model car from a foreign country, almost impossible. So what do? So they had prayer. God, we need your help. We need you to intervene. We don't know the answer to our circumstances, but you do. And you know what happened? Nothing. So they milled around a little bit, and the missionary's son got a little bit bored, as boys do, and he told him to go play. So as they was there wondering what in the world they're going to do, they cannot move the car, because once they start down this mountain, it would be almost suicidal. So the young boy went exploring, as boys do. He went down to the mountainside, and all of a sudden, after a little bit, he come running up and says, Dad, there's a car just like ours down there. It's blue just like ours. And Dad says, right, just because it's got the same color don't mean it's the same exact car. And his friend said, you better check it out. Let's give God a chance. So they went down, and sure enough, it was the same color. And they began to look at this. This car had been there for quite a long time, because things had begun to grow up through this car. They know it's been there for a long time. And sure enough, it was exactly the same model and year of the car they were driving. What a miracle, right? So they go up and get tools, and they jack the tires of the car up to get to each tire. First tire, no brakes, at least worn out. Second, third, and fourth, just beyond repair. Obviously, that's the reason it went over the mountain. They was able to get the car stopped. This person wasn't. So what do? They're discouraged. They thought surely God had answered prayer. And someone said, look in the trunk. What's the chance of looking in the trunk? And the friend says, hey, you better open the truck up. Of course, there's no keys, so they finally got enough tools, and they was able to pop the trunk open. And when they looked inside, there was a box. And in that box was a brand new set of brakes made for that car and also their car. The person who had bought them had not taken the time to put them on and get their car repaired. We don't understand all things, but the fact of the matter was, God had a plan for the ones that was there today. Has your life changed and you think, what in the world are you going to do? It tells us in Isaiah 65, it shall come to pass before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Do you realize with God there is no emergencies? God has the answer. Sometimes we've got to ask. Sometimes we've got to seek. Sometimes we've got to knock. But the fact is, nothing comes our way that God does not permit, because He has your answer. Now, let me ask the question. Have you truly stopped and prayed over your circumstances? It's easy in our modern technology to text, group texting, emails, to pray for this circumstances. But do we actually stop and pray, asking God to give us that which we stand in need of? If we're truly living and working for Him, He's promised to meet our needs. It says in Matthew 6:33, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And what he had just got done talking about was the material things of life. But if we're asking just for things, listen, James 4:2-3 says, you lust and have not. You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you have not because you ask not. You ask and receive not because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your own lust. Number one, he's waiting for you to ask. But if we're asking selfishly, he's not going to give it to us. You know, it says also in Matthew 6:6, but thou, when thou prayest, enter into the closet, and when thou hast shut the door, pray to the Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. This is faith, because there's a God in heaven who is waiting for you to ask.